Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're talking about a new collection from e.l.f. Cosmetics in collaboration with Christian Siriano. I was really excited to see this collaboration for a few different reasons. First of all, I love Project Runway. I've watched and rewatched all the seasons, and I think that collaborating with a fashion designer is a great idea. Designers have so much insight into trends, into color theory, and really into styling and the way that somebody looks. So a makeup collaboration with a fashion designer is such a perfect idea. I also love to see affordable brands doing collaborations. e.l.f. is extremely affordable. It's pretty easy to get your hands on, and I just love that this collection is something different. It's colorful, it's really fun and girly, and I mean, I am wearing blue eyeshadow, something that doesn't happen very often in life or on YouTube. But here I am, I'm mixing it up for you. Are you impressed? Because I'm kind of impressed. This is a very small collection. There's a makeup bag, 2 lip products, and an eyeshadow palette. Here's the makeup bag. I really like it. I love the pink and green that runs throughout this collection. It's very springtime, it's very fresh, and this bag retails for $8. It does feel more expensive than that to me. It's metallic pink. It's almost like iCat meets floral, very abstract print. There's a metallic green tassel. It's lined. It doesn't feel like flimsy and cheapy. The finishes are nice, and overall I think this feels like a more than $8 bag. It does feel more expensive than that. And just to give you an idea of the size of this bag, this is a full-size MAC Fix Plus. It would definitely fit in here, so this isn't a little rinky-dink bag. You could totally take your weekend makeup in this or throw it in your tote for work or something like that. From the finishes to the color choices, I'm really impressed with the makeup bag. Even if you're not into any of the makeup that I'm going to show you, this is a pretty cool bag, so everyone could get use out of this. There are 2 different lip products in this collection. One is a matte liquid lipstick. This one's called Electric Fuchsia, and there's also a tinted lip oil, and this one is in the shade Polished Pink. Here are the swatches. This is the matte liquid lipstick in Electric Fuchsia, and this is the tinted lip oil in the shade Polished Pink. You will see me wear Polished Pink in the tutorial portion. This one I have not worn yet. I was gonna wear it, but I just thought it was too much with this blue eyeshadow look. As you can see, it is a very opaque. I just did 1 swipe application here, and it dried down really quickly. I love that each lip product has a different applicator that's really tailored to the product inside. The matte liquid lipstick has a flat and pointed doe foot style applicator. It does have that little scoop out in the center so that you can pick up enough product. And the tinted lip oil has a cupped, curved type of applicator. This really helps distribute that tinted lip oil evenly across the lips, and it makes it easy to smooth it out since it is a more milky type of shade. I gave this matte liquid lipstick like 2 minutes to dry, so let's see how dry it is after 2 minutes. You ready? A little bit came off. I used my middle finger here. So it's not completely transfer proof after 2 minutes, but it's still very solidly on my hand. While I think that these lip product shades fit really nicely with the eyeshadow palette, they're just not my most favorite kind of shades. I do like the bright fuchsia pink better than this sort of milky pale pink. The Electric Fuchsia shade will look beautiful with a super toned down neutral eye for me. That watermelon pink is very summertime, so I do think I'll get some use out of that. The lip oil I just don't think is super flattering on me. You'll see that in the tutorial portion. I do love this packaging. Again, I think this seems more expensive than a $6 lip product. The quality of the product is definitely there. Like I said about the bag, they don't feel flimsy and cheapy. They have a nice weight to them. They feel nice. Now let's talk about the eyeshadow palette. This is called the Bold Bouquet eyeshadow palette. It's being sold for $12, and it does come with a little mini double-sided brush. This has a sort of flat packing brush on one side and then a fluffier blending type brush on the other side. I didn't use this. It doesn't seem super great. It's not the worst brush I've ever gotten in a palette. I typically am not a fan of the brushes that come in eyeshadow palettes, and this one seems like nothing to write home about. The palette is super pretty. It looks metallic, but it is plastic, and it has a magnetic closure. There is a pretty decent mirror in here. I like that the mirror stays standing up Just think it makes it easy to use the mirror in this little palette. There are 7 eyeshadows inside, 2 are mattes, and the rest are a shimmery satiny finish. Overall, this is a very bold palette, but I do think that it's pretty versatile for only having 7 shades. I did 2 different eye looks using this, so I will show you tutorials. But first I want to do some swatches. Just like I always do, I will do both finger and brush swatches. The finger swatches will be on top and the brush swatches will be below. For my brush swatches, I'll use my e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush and I'll clean off in between each shade using my Vera Monocolor switch. Here's the first round of swatches. This is the top row and also the large pan highlighting type of shade. This first one is a little bit difficult to see. It's a very pale pink, not too different from my skin tone, so it doesn't show up super well, but it worked great as a setting shadow for me, so I set my eye base with this one. Next is this electric blue. This is one of those satin shimmer type of hybrids. It's not super metallic, but it's also not quite a satin. You can see here it doesn't apply super well with a brush. It would probably be better with a dampened brush, but I used it today and I applied it with my finger and I think it looks pretty vibrant on the eyes. Next, a more impressive brush swatch from this very deep eggplant blackened purple type of color. In the pan, you can see that this has micro glitters, but once it's applied, it just looks like a very deep blackened purple satin shade. And lastly, this pale icy highlighting shade. You could probably use this as a face highlighter as well, but I used it for my inner corner highlight and I really liked it for that. These are the swatches of the bottom row of the palette. First is a shimmery pale gold. In the middle here is a very vibrant springy green. This reminds me of Greenery, which was the Pantone color of the year last year. And you can see that the brush swatch here is much more intense than the blue brush swatch. This is with a dry brush as well. This one just shows up with a lot more intensity with the brush. Lastly, the other matte from the palette. This is an interesting shade because it's like a dusty mauve meets a fuchsia. It's kind of bright and dull at the same time. It's hard to explain, but I really like it. I think it's really interesting and it rounds out this palette nicely. Now that we've done the swatches, I'm going to show you some tutorials using this palette. I did a more daytime wearable look, and I'll also show you how I got the look I'm wearing now, which is this really bright blue, more evening appropriate look. And then I'll wrap up all my thoughts at the end. First, let's start with the more wearable daytime look. Of course, I'm using my MAC Painterly Paint Pot to prime my eyelids. It's my all-time favorite eye base, and I pretty much use it for every eye look. Once my eyes are primed, it's time to get into this new little e.l.f. palette. I'm going to start with that very pale pink matte shade just to set down the paint pot underneath. Then I'm going to create my transition shade for my crease by mixing the 2 mattes, the pale pink and the brighter purple. I'm going to sweep that all through my crease and blend it down onto my eyelid as well so everything looks really soft and diffused. I was very happy with how these matte shades blended out, so I had to do a little happy dance. Now I'm going to take this gold shade on my finger and I'm just going to apply that all over my lid and sort of blend it into that more purpley shade as I work. I'm going back to the brighter purple, this time all on its own, on a flat brush, and I'm just quickly smudging that along my lower lash line for a little pop of color down there. Then to blend out that purple shade, I'm taking the pale pink on a pencil brush and just smudging over the lower lash line. Last but not least, it's time to highlight the inner corner. Just popping a little bit of that highlight shade right around my tear duct area. Then I curled my lashes and added a little bit of mascara. This time I used the Physicians Formula Killer Curves mascara. This is such an easy look. It's simple, it's wearable, and it has just a little bit of pop of color, which I love. Now it's time for look number 2. We're going more bold with this one. Starting out in the exact same way, priming my eyelids with my MAC Painterly Paint Pot, and then I'm going to set that eye base using the pale pink shadow so that we have a nice smooth surface to work on. Nothing revolutionary happening here, but hey, you know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. For this bold look, I'm starting off with the super dark royal purple shade, and instead of starting with a true transition shade in the crease, I'm going to build up this deep shade on the outer part of my eyelid, and I found that it blended best with my finger instead of a brush. Now it's time for the blue. I'm applying that using my fingertip and just packing it all over my eyelid so that I get the most intensity out of this shade. Then I used a completely clean brush with no product to smooth out the edges of that blue shade, and I think it looks pretty good. Now I'm going back with the really dark purple shade, and I'm going to build up just a little bit more depth, a little bit more drama on the outer part of my lid. And again, I found that this shade blended out better with my finger than it did with a brush. I'm going to use that gold shade, and I'm just going to lightly tap that with my fingertip just to tone down the blue a tiny bit, and again going back with a clean brush to blend out the edges. Now I'm going to use this deep purple shade on a very flat, very stiff brush as sort of a faux liner along the upper and lower lashes. I'm just packing that right along my eyelashes, and I'm making sure that that shade connects at the very outer corner of my eye as well. Then I'm going to use the blue shade to smudge out the liner on the lower lash line using a very small, dense brush. It's kind of difficult to tell from the angle here, but I'm actually going all the way around my inner corner. Then I'm going to use the highlighter shade and put that on top at the very inner part of my eye so that we get a really bright icy blue highlight on the inner corner. Then of course, curl my lashes, added L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara, and here is my super bold, bright blue look. I'm so proud. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. As far as actually using this eyeshadow palette, there are some pros and some cons. I was impressed with the pigmentation overall, but I didn't find these shadows to be extremely blendable. I was able to work with them. I do think that I came out with some really great eye looks, but they weren't the world's easiest eyeshadows to blend. I also experienced some fallout, particularly with the blue and this really dark royal purple shade. Nothing too crazy. It didn't ruin my look. I still had my face makeup on before I did my eye makeup. I was able to just wipe the fallout away with a fluffy brush. But I do think that's worth mentioning, especially because these aren't particularly powdery shadows that you would expect to have more fallout. Overall, I found this palette to be really exciting. It definitely got me out of my comfort zone and made me want to experiment with some more bright eyeshadow looks. And because it's not an overwhelmingly large palette, it made those shades a little bit more accessible to me. I didn't feel super overwhelmed by the selection, so just limiting myself to using only the shades in this palette really forced me to get more creative, and I had a lot of fun with it. I think the packaging is super pretty. I would actually love to see more pieces in this collection. I think a little face duo, like a blush and bronzer or a bronzer highlight face duo would have been awesome in this collection. Who knows? Maybe we have more yet to come from e.l.f. and Christian Siriano. I've enjoyed incorporating these products into my looks, and I think that they are a great value. I'd love to know your thoughts on the collection, and let me know if you are a Project Runway fan as well. What other designers from Project Runway would you like to see do a makeup collection? I would love to see e.l.f. do a collection. Do you remember e.l.f.? She would make the coolest bronzed beach babe, totally laid back kind of makeup. I would love that collection. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Oh, it's collapsing. Okay. Believe it or not. Maybe a little bit stained, but worse things have happened. Double-sided brush. That's not hard to say. Oh, it's Monday. Okay. Palette. Where is the swatchy brush? Here we go. 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 e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush. I've said that 1,000 times. I should be able to say it. e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush. Got it. Nailed it. Too close. Okay. Back up. Thank you. When you're like blending your eyeshadow and Tim Gunn is just like, make it work. Make it blend. This lip color is truly stunning. I thought it was going to be super sticky because It says lacquer. It kind of has like a scent and a flavor. Don't eat your makeup, but it tastes kind of good. It tastes better than it smells. What a weird thing to say. This blue eyeshadow, it could have gone real Mimi from the Drew Carey show, and I think it's actually kind of pretty. I mean, I'm not gonna be totally converted like blue eyeshadow every day, but I kind of like it. If you don't like it, please don't leave mean comments. Mean comments aren't nice. Oh, I think I got a glitter in my eye. Help. Coffee break. When I'm wearing lip gloss, I try to take the most like dainty sips of coffee so that I don't mess up my lip gloss. How long is this blue eyeshadow gonna last? Is that everything? Did I say everything I was supposed to say?